talk about a little bit of basketball theory. I guess that's what we're going to call it for now.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to call it.
Yeah,
but
'cause-
we're going to talk about positions, and we're going to talk about what the positions mean. And basically, right now in 2021-2022 season, are we seeing teams playing positionless basketball?
How do you want to start off with, like,
I guess I can kind of.
how do you want to start this? Because again, this is like kind of what we thought of last minute.
Yeah, literally.
This is
last
honestly,
minute,
this is
but
also impromptu to the story time. I don't know if you wanted to talk about it with the DeMarcus Cousins thing going down.
might as well just
bring that up a little bit.
talk about that.
We did say in the last podcast we were going to bring this up.
Yeah, so
this-
I mean,
story
like,
time.
last podcast, real quick. This is a very quick story, but last podcast we were talking about Anthony Davis and DeMarcus Cousins a little bit, and we talked about DeMarcus Cousins real quick in this podcast. But basically, I had a couple of years ago, I was in high school, and I went with a couple of my friends to a Knicks game because I had a couple season tickets for the Knicks, and we ended up going to the game. It was Knicks versus Pelicans. DeMarcus Cousins and Anthony Davis were both playing that night, so we were excited to go to the game. It was going to be fun. We figured that the Pelicans were actually going to smack the Knicks. I think the Knicks ended up winning, and I had pretty good seats, so we could see the court pretty good. And just the funniest thing happened. So we were there for a Shaq and a Fool moment, which was pretty funny, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And it was nice to it was nice to see it while I was like actually there, because I've never experienced that kind of thing before. But it's actually really funny if you're at the game. But basically, there was two malfunctions by DeMarcus Cousins there, and
Who is a Shaq and a Fool regular?
yeah, he is.
JaVale McGee and DeMarcus Cousins.
So DeMarcus Cousins inbounds the ball, and both Anthony Davis and DeMarcus Cousins are bringing up the ball, so they're coming from backcourt, and they are walking, and then they start jogging at the same time synchronously, which is pretty funny. But then, like, literally one play later, DeMarcus Cousins is bringing up the ball, and he's just like acting like a point guard for some reason.
Because we all know that DeMarcus Cousins can play.
Right, and so Anthony Davis posts up on the high post, and DeMarcus Cousins just like it totally has a brain malfunction. He grabs the ball, picks up the ball from dribbling, and takes two steps and like a clear travel. Ref doesn't call it. Passes the ball to Anthony Davis. Defender's right there, just like absolutely goes right into his hands perfectly and steals the ball and goes down for a fast break layup. It was the worst thing. It sounds a lot weirder than
It's
me
like
explaining
a you had
it.
To be there moment.
A little bit, but we'll throw up the clip.
We'll try to find the clip. I don't know if they will have it, but
I think we will be
We'll
able
be
to find the
able
clip.
to
But yeah, it's a really funny moment, and we just started geeking the entire time while we were at that game. It was a great time.
Which is why I wanted to transition to this.
So
Again,
yeah, this did have some relevance.
this is some relevance because I wanted to tie this to the point of how, again, in the 2000s, big men were the thing. Of course, Shaquille O'Neal and everything, having big men dominate the NBA, and then basically transitioning to when the Warriors came up, when Curry started to become Curry, and basically dominating the perimeter, and basically having, big men become useless essentially because the perimeter was so powerful when Curry came into the league, and basically saying, hey, if we can shoot threes and make them at a more efficient rate, why would we have big men that are basically useless on the perimeter?
Fair.
So, and that's the point where we brought up about positionless basketball now, because at this point, would you rather have a center that can switch really well and play on the perimeter rather than like a big man like DeMarcus Cousins who only can play in the paint? That's essentially why I wanted to bring that up after that story. And my first thought is obviously we are playing a position basketball era, and I'd rather take the perimeter over the
Yeah, I mean,
position.
like for me, I think definitely with like the way that the NBA is like kind of rolling right now, that I would agree with Mokes. I think that that's probably the best way to go about it. That getting a center who can shoot on the perimeter would be a better idea, and maybe even could defend a little bit on the perimeter. But I mean, I definitely think that both have their benefits. It's just because like we've seen somebody like Valanciunas. It would be a good example for that, because like he was all about old school basketball. Literally did not do anything except in the paint or in the post. It was ridiculous. And now he's transitioned a little bit to shooting a little bit more, but he still has that kind of old head tendency. So I mean, like, and he's producing amazing this year. Probably the best that he's done in a long ass time. So
Would we count Draymond as that? As the one of the first type of big men who played perimeter-centric basketball.
I think Draymond was a very good example of this positionless basketball because he is 6'7" and played the 5.
Yeah.
So I think that, he kind of broke a lot of the molds for like what it is to be a typical big man. Usually you'd be pretty hard pressed to find an NBA team right now that doesn't have a 7-foot center.
It's true.
It's
true.
So the Warriors are doing it now. I actually don't know exactly how tall Kevin Looney is, but he's definitely taller than 6'7".
I think he's like 6'11".
Something like
6'10",
that. So yeah,
6'11".
around there, like a normal height for a center, right? But yeah, I think that Draymond kind of broke a lot of the mold for that, and it obviously worked for the Warriors.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, to be fair, also, if you stuck Draymond in any other system, would he work as well? Probably not.
No.
Because he can also pass relatively well.
He passes better than any other big man.
Yeah,
Like,
so,
well, maybe not like Jokic, but
he kind of, in my opinion, broke a lot of that mold. But I think another good example would be, you were talking about Valanciunas. I kind of wanted to mention Vucevic.
Vucevic would be a good
Vucevic, I think, is solid because he is kind of like on the cusp of playing center/stretch 4.
Yeah.
Kind of, but he shoots threes. He's pretty good in the mid-range as well.
Just dominates on boards.
And he's
Boards all day
absolute
long.
glass cleaner. So, I think it's really important to have that like ability to stretch the floor because if you can't, then it's just like Rudy Gobert.
Yeah.
He's
Which
pretty.
is a prime example of the old school style.
Exactly.
Big man
And,
position.
It's working for them in the regular season, but then as soon as the Jazz get to the playoffs, they're a first round exit. I'm pretty sure for the past couple years now. So obviously it's not working. Because it's easy to defend Gobert.
Right.
Okay, you got to stick just a big body on him. He can't shoot anywhere outside the paint. He's going to grab a lot of rebounds for sure.
Yeah.
But other than that, he's pretty easy to defend. And then also if you just even if you get a switch on him, you send him to the free throw line, and he's a terrible free throw shooter as well. I think it's really important to have a big man that's able to do a lot as opposed to just having, sticking some 7'2", 7'3", however tall Gobert is. Being able to get 5 blocks a game, sure, but if he can't shoot, he's an easy offensive liability.
Yeah.
I agree.
And I think I wanted to cap off this segment with: will we ever see the big men return to the NBA?
I hope so.
Ever?
I don't see
I think
it.
ever, yes, but not
the only
currently.
reason why I don't see it right now is because of the stress on the 3-point shot right now. Like once Curry came in, it was pretty much like just threes all day.
Yeah.
Everyone's shooting threes. Everyone wants a 3-point shot. You always want a guy who can shoot threes. Like Klay Thompson is an incredibly valuable asset because he pretty much only shoots threes. Duncan Robinson.
An
is a good asset.
older reference that probably started the trend was Ray Allen.
Ray Allen, kind of like was the forefather of
the modern
really good
modern
3-point
three-point
shooter.
shooting.
Reggie Miller.
Reggie Miller was
Miller,
also
yeah.
in that conversation as well. I don't see the big man coming back only because of the stress on the 3-point shot. Right?
Yeah, that's fair. I would hope that it comes back at some point, just because I personally love seeing a big man, and my favorite type of basketball was getting big man the ball in the post and guards and forwards taking as many mid-range shots as possible. Early 2000s basketball, a little bit in the 90s too.
Yeah.
That was my favorite kind of basketball to play. That kind of style I felt was really physical. It made it entertaining. And it was always a close match, and there was always defense. No one ever you never would see a 140 to 139 game. I mean,
I think that also the defense is part of it, as not seeing the big man come back because we're seeing a lot of foul calls. Less this season now
Thank God.
because they changed that. So I think that if anything's going to be able to bring the big man back, I think it's going to be that new foul rule change. But I mean, right now, you see these guys, they're just putting up 15, 16 free throws a game, and I don't see that kind of defensive intensity coming back.
Yeah.
And also with the new age of technology, looking at basketball analytics, people A lot of the basketball operations staff members from all these organizations are telling their players just kind of stay away from the mid-range shot because it's considered inefficient.
Right.
You know, because they're saying it's either a three or you want that high percentage in the paint shot. You
Yep.
know, because they're saying like, well, why would we shoot a 16-foot mid-range shot as opposed to getting a 9-foot layup, basically. Yeah, I mean these are NBA players. They can make shots all day.
Yes.
But no. So I personally I do not see the big man coming back. Unfortunately, I think it was nice.
Yeah.
It was cool. I like watching highlights. Watching these guys like dominate in the paint. But right now, I see not too much focus, but I see the focus is on guards now. For sure.
Yeah.
Everybody wants a guard. Everybody wants a guard that can shoot, a guard that can facilitate.
I mean, this draft was basically a good example of this. Like Jalen Green, Kate Cunningham, Jalen Suggs, and
Evan Mobley was the third pick,
was
and right now
was the only big man that
he
was
is turning up in Cleveland right now. So he's making a good case for big men being.
even Scotty Barnes is a
really
wing, is a perimeter wing. So I would that's kind of an example of what we're going towards, like what teams are looking for. Analytics basically saying, shoot the three or get a layup, kind of it.
Right, that's what I'm seeing right now. So I just don't see the big man coming back.
Yeah, I mean that's all I wanted to say for the basketball theory positions.